Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a hand. Let's hide this head. I'm going to hide the head. I'll put it onto a layer. I might even just call this layer Geo Layer for now as I make things and I hide them. Actually, I forgot to put a capital G, whatever. I like that. There we go. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a hand. I'm going to go over here to create, and I'm going to get a free image plane this time around. Just because I'm going to use it just as a basic reference. And I'll open up the attribute editor, and I'm going to go in here to image name, and I thought I put this one. Uh-oh, I didn't name it. God damn it, what is it? I thought, oh, there it is. That's what I was going to use. Just a basic hand. Done. I just need it as a basic reference. Okay, close this down, and I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to hold down J, rotate it this way, rotate it over. There we go. Good. And I'm just going to favor one just for proportions here, that it's a girl's hand. Okay, it's not Greta's hands. I looked, and there's nothing really distinct that I can say about the hands. So I'm going to stick with this. And I'll just push this down. Okay, so to start off a hand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to create polygon cylinder. And I'll go in, grab my rotate tool, hold down J. Now, there's way too many polygons on this thing, so I'm going to reduce them. I'm just going to go in here and take the subdivisions and axis down to 8. Your life will be much better with 8. And I'll just pull this forward, and I can get rid of some of these extra edges here. I'll just delete those. Okay, cool. Also, typically the finger, you kind of notice that it's wider here and it tapers down. So I'm just going to taper it a little bit. Okay. And let me just push this back. Okay, it might be too long. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let's do panels, layouts, 2 panes stacked. Okay, so I have one in my perspective, and we'll have one in my, in this case here, I think it's going to end up being my front view. There we go. Whoop. Okay, and you remember that your finger is divided up into 3 sections. I'm just going to go and grab my multi-cut tool. And with my multi-cut tool, I'm going to hold down D, and if I hold down, or not D, Control, I can go in and insert an edge loop. There we go. So I kind of built it up into 3 sections. Typically, this is the shortest section. Right here. Gotta go in here, grab an edge. Okay. And then this one here is kind of a medium length, and this one here is the longest. But that also kind of includes the knuckle, typically. And I'm going to get the multi-cut tool again. And I'm going to cut on an angle like this. Okay. Whoop. Okay, all I'm doing is clicking and dragging, and it just cuts right through. I'll go in and I'll grab myself some vertices, pull that up a bit. Okay. And, okay, that's looking not too bad. Maybe push this down a bit, push this back. Okay, good enough. So I've got a finger. Okay. I can spend some bit more time here, and I might go in and cut this up a bit more. How about from here to here? And all I'm doing is right-clicking. If you click, and then you right-click, that cuts through. If you click and drag, it just immediately cuts. And so let's go and take this and this, scale it in a bit, and grab that point. And I go in here to faces. To faces, great, I got those faces selected. I'm just going to go in and extrude. When I extrude, I'm just going to scale them in a tiny bit. I'll extrude again. This time I'm going to switch just to my rotate tool, pop it up a bit. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to select this face and this face, and I'll just extrude one more time. And when I do that, when I just pull forward, maybe I'll just scale that to the side a bit like that, and I hit 3, I've got a fingernail. So I've got a really, really simple finger. If you wanted to, you could kind of change the proportions a little bit. Don't forget to look at your hands. Okay, here, I'm just gonna, why does it keep doing that? Right click face. I'm just gonna take these faces at the very end here, and I don't typically need those anymore. And I might just go and do a few more cuts through this, and you can go in and start to adjust your proportions a little bit. Grab my vertices, maybe pull that down, maybe pull this down. I'll look at it from above. Maybe that feels like it should be a bit more narrow. Maybe around the knuckles sometimes they get a bit wider. You can kind of see it there. Okay, so kind of quickly figure that out and just change it so it doesn't look like a tube, like a sausage sticking out of a box. And so we got a finger. I'm just going to delete the history. I'm also going to move the pivot point of this. If I just hold down D, I can move my pivot point here to the back. And great. Okay, let's look at it from the top view. And in the top view, we've got to pick a hand. Which hand do I like? I'm going to go with actually this one here. And again, I'm just doing proportions. It's actually flipped around. I need the back of the hand, but yeah, I don't care. So I'm just going to take this and we'll scale it down. Okay, so that's not too bad. But it gives me a nice proportion to work with. And I'll make a duplicate, Control D. And I'll say that's good. And I'll rotate that a little bit. I usually notice they work best if they're spread out a little bit like this. I'll make another duplicate. And we'll take that and rotate it. Okay, and that's not so bad. You notice there's little bends in the fingers and stuff like that. I kind of avoid modeling those in because they're a pain in the ass to rig. If you want to get into it, you can. Okay, and let's scale it down. Great. And that gives me a good proportion. I'm just going to take this one here and I'm going to make another duplicate. And I'm going to bring it over here and let's just rotate it out for the thumb. And remember, your thumb is typically going to be a little bit on the bigger side. But it doesn't have all these sections to it. So let's just go in here and grab those. And I'm just going to go grow. And I'll just delete those. Okay. And here, I'm going to move this back this way a little bit. What else do I like to do? Let's go and take a look at this in perspective. I'm just going to rotate it a little bit like this. And I'll rotate it down. And that should be good. I'm just going to take a look at that in the top view. Okay, we'll call it good somewhere around there. Let's take a look. Okay, so everything's cool there. And let's make this big. What time we had? 8 minutes. Okay, great. I'm going to grab all these fingers here and I'm going to go to Mesh. I'm going to hit Combine. I'm going to delete the history right away. Oops, get rid of the history this way. Great. And then I want to start joining these things all together. I'm going to double click here, hold down Shift, double click, double click, double click. I'm just going to do a quick extrude. And when I extrude, we can pull it out and pull it out this way a little bit. I grabbed the green one to pull it back. And I just realized I missed when I did that. Somehow I didn't hold down Shift and get all of them. So I come in here, double click, hold down Shift, double click, double click, double click. Got them. Extrude, down, pull them out this way a little bit. Perfect. Okay. And to start merging these together, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the vertices here on either side. And I'll use Edit Mesh, Merge. And they merge kind of in the middle, so I kind of like that. Okay. Oops, and I missed. And great. Okay, and then I'm going to go and take this outside edge again, and I'm going to extrude. And here, let's look at it from the top view again. let's go and switch to the move tool. I'll pull it back a bit. I'm just going to grab the scale and I'll scale it kind of flattish. And we can go somewhere right around. I'm going to go here-ish. Actually, let's go back just a bit more where I think it's about the widest. I pulled it back. I'm going to grab the scale tool, and I thought I just hit the scale tool. There we go. And I'll pull that up a bit. Great. And let's just hit 1 so we don't see everything smoothed. I'm going to take this vertice, this one, and this one. I'm just going to pull those up a bit so it's kind of flatter. There, there, and there. Pull this down here. Okay. It's looking a bit better. So it's got a bit of a kind of a taper to it. Maybe I don't need to go that far. Okay, great. And then I'm just going to go and take this edge here again, and I'm going to extrude it and switch here to the move tool. Okay, let's look at it from the top view. Okay, and I'll hit extrude again. Just switch to the move tool and pull it out. Okay, and that should be good enough for now. Okay, so we got that happening. Then I'm going to think about how the thumb is going to stick into here. And when I think about the thumb, I'm just going to grab some of these vertices here and I'll move those back a little bit. And I'm just going to rotate that a little bit so the shape of it will fit the thumb. Okay, and when I look at this area here where I'm thinking about the thumb, I want to think about right here. Let's just go and grab the multi-cut tool, and I'm just going to cut right through there. And I can also do this one too. If you hold down Control and you right-click, edge ring, and split, another way to cut right through. Okay, and I'm going to go in here and select this face, this one, this one, this one, and delete. I just went below the middle level here, so this will probably fit a little bit better. I'm going to grab this object and this one, and I'm going to go to Mesh and hit Combine. I'll delete the history again. I should be saving soon. We're at the 12-minute mark. I'm going to go in here and double-click on this edge, double-click on this one. I'm going to hit it with a bridge. Edit Mesh, Bridge. And that kind of works. Just going to select these vertices in this area, and just to make them seem a bit more organic, I'm going to go in and hit average vertices. It's okay. I can go in here to this edge and edge ring and split, and I'll just take the scale tool and pull it up. Okay, double click, go this way a little bit. Okay, and I might have to do some maneuvering around here, but you kind of get the general idea that my hand is working. There, I'm just going to go ahead and delete the history. One last thing I'm going to do here to the hand before I stop this video is I might notice that there's a lot of geometry coming in from the front to the back. I'm just going to grab the Insert Edge Loop tool, hold down Shift, and dook, it didn't work. Scale that out. Boop. What the hell's that? Okay, Z. I just got to go back over here and grab this edge loop again. There, okay, great. There's a lot of geometry coming into the back of the arm, into the arm area here. So what I want to do is I want to kite it out. And I was just using this other reference here for proportions, so I'll probably get rid of this thing. Let's go back here. And what I want to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab edges. And I'll grab, say, this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay, and I'm going to use collapse. You can also find that by going in to, if I hold down Shift and I right click, collapse lives right there. 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I'll take this thing and delete it. And I can just hit G as I'm going if I want to. I might click on an edge. There. Delete. And that kind of reduces the amount of geometry I have. I'm going to go over here and do the same kind of thing. And there we are. complete. Okay. And some of these here, actually I need a few more edge loops in here. It looks like I'm just going to get my insert edge loop and I'll pop a loop here. Shift. There. Okay, wonderful. And some of these faces here, if I grab this and I go and I hit mesh, edit mesh rather, average vertices, and I hit G a few times there. And I'll just grab both these and I'll hit G a few times. Anyway, I can spend a bit more time on this, sculpting it and everything like that. We'll wait until I get to ZBrush. And there we go. I've got a hand with reduced amount of geometry at the end. Anything else? Maybe one more thing I'll do. Let's grab a vertice, say here. I'm just going to grab the move tool and I'm going to turn on my soft selection and make sure that I'm kind of grabbing it a little bit like this. This just helps make it look a little bit better. Because it doesn't look like a book or something has been squashed on top of it or something like that. Okay, and I'll call that good. That feels like it needs this a little bit. I'm just going to hit B and turn that off. Okay, good. And I'm calling this one done-ish.